And slowly open the eyes.
When I arrived here in this trip, it brought me wanting to let go the internal resistance.
The what?
The internal resistance. I feel I still have very strong the control issue. And I want to surrender. I want to start relaxing and really surrender. And I could like if you can tell me as a clue for me to be able to do it.
You know, the second portal is all about that. Focusing on joy, focusing on surrender. And that's the key. Be joyful and surrender to what's coming. You know, the reason you control is you're in your head and you're feeding fear. Forget the fear. Just let go. Surrender and focus on joy. You know, you've already cultivated a big experience of consciousness. So just be with that. And start trusting in that. You have to start trusting it. You have to be willing to take the risk of letting go. Because everything we're afraid of, the control creates. Suffering, fighting against our reality. Just let it go. And just trust. Okay, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to focus on joy. I'm going to flow. Because that's the next step for you. Just to start living here. What have you got to lose? Your stress, your fear, your addiction to controlling. So what are you going to lose? What are you going to find? Joy, peace, flow. You're the one that's losing, controlling. Because the universe is bringing you everything.
I'm Esther from Colombia. I want to know the difference in between feeling the joy and to be exalted.
You know, firstly, I don't think it's so important. Because exaltation is part of the growth process. What is the difference? Joy is permanent. It's a constant bubbling. Exaltation has its highs and lows. You know, it's about something constant, something permanent, something you wake up with, that's there, to live in that energy. And when we're exalted, oh, sometimes everything's magical, but it has an up and a down. It's not constant. So initially, we start experiencing consciousness. And then we go through a stage of exaltation. And then we stay in our bodies and we stabilize perpetual consciousness, which is constant. It's peaceful, it's joyful, it's there. So that's the next step. So in order to go to the next step, you have to be present. You have to be in your body. That's the difference. It's just another step further.
I'm very exigent with myself. And I feel like I have the expectations get are too high. And that provokes a lot of sadness. What can I do to let go of those high expectations and exigence?
So people are exigent and have these high goals because on some level they don't feel good enough. The thing we have to cultivate is to be good with ourselves, happy with ourselves, loving with ourselves, irrespective of what transpires. This is the key. Because exigence always takes you to suffering. Because basically nothing's ever good enough. It doesn't matter how great it is, it's never good enough. Because you're trying to fill an emptiness by creating something external that you think is perfection. But the perfection's here. It's inside of you. And it's in each moment. And that exigence stops you from enjoying because everything's rigid. There's no joy. There's just one direction. And it's like this. And it misses everything else. How do you stop it? Firstly, it has an energy. Usually it's an energy of complaining. Catch that energy. It never is an energy of joy. It's always a rigidity and control. When you see it, start to let it go. To be excellent is to move forward, being 100% in each moment, but from a place of joy. Polishing, growing, perceiving, but holistically, containing everything, not just the objective. If I don't win, that's it. I win or I win. And then you win. Oh, I need to win something else. But if you're happy in every moment, loving in every moment, you've already won. You know, I see this with my endurance. When I race my horses. And I ride in a very high level, no? In world championships. And before, when I was young, I had to win. I would kill to win. That was the only thing that mattered. And now, I like to win. Obviously. But if I don't win, I'm still happy. Because I'm giving my best. And I'm giving the best to my horse. And all that defining myself through my victories has left. I know that there's something much bigger. And it's something very holistic that entails todo. But the most important thing is I'm already happy. If I win, if I lose, I still feel good with me. If my horse is okay, I'm happy. And that's because I love me. And I wake up happy. And this is how you have to become. And then everything becomes easy. Very easy.
How can you integrate present moment with the need of planning and having a vision in the future according
to be
to your
organizing
job, no?
something doesn't mean you're out of the moment. In fact, you're very much in the moment. It's when you start worrying about the future, when you're not present, and you start to suffer. You know, clearly, you have to make plans. Life's like that. So you have to find a balance between the spiritual and the material. You have to become consciousness in action. You know, if you have to travel, you've got to book a ticket. You can't just be in the moment. And the universe will define the travel agent in heaven will do it for you. But then you come back into the present moment. And you live there. Why live in the present moment? Because when you live in the present moment, you're excellent. Because you're 100% there. You're seeing everything. You can be multitasking. But you're there. But if you're off in the future, are you being excellent? No. If you're worrying about the future or regretting the past, are you being excellent? No, you're not creating from this new space. This space, this is creation. This is when we start to manifest. Not in the future. I can't manifest the future. I can only create this moment. And as a consequence, each moment takes me towards that moment.
Hi, I'm Dania. Many times we, human beings, women, we were told that we have a sixth sense, a sensitivity more refined. Is this related to consciousness? And if it's like that, why the closest people many times it's very hard for us to feel or perceive something that happens with them?
Well, firstly, women are more emotional, no? We live in our hearts. And if you live in your heart, yes, you do have that sensitivity. You do have that intuition. You do have that connection. Obviously, some men do too. It's not that they're all cavemen. Not at all. But women have that. Yes, it's very clear. And if that affects other people, well, I don't know, that's their problem. Yeah, but they feel that. They feel as if you're looking through them. Or you're not buying what they're selling. You know, and you know things before they happen. You know, that's very much a feminine thing. But it has to come from a place of growth too. Because often women imagine things that aren't happening as well. Okay, so you have to be very well with yourself to have that intuition, that clarity.
Yesterday we had the workshop with Satya.
That's her thing.
Esa es su cosa. I had a memory then that is painful. But at the same time, with those people, I don't feel I'm angry. It's when I'm with those people, I feel love, I feel compassion, I feel well. As if I forgave all what had happened. And this memory is showing up where doing like my ego telling me, you have to be angry. You have to, it's not good that you forgive that. So to remember, for me, it was like damaging and not healing. Because I feel that the feeling I have with them, that is love, is fighting with the ego of being angry, wants to be angry about it.
So I've got bad news for you. You know all that love and light? That was your ego. Not the one that wants to fight. The one that wants to fight is the child that was hurt. But you went over that. Like with your father. Oh, my father takes me to see all these mistresses and I know all these secrets and I think it's okay and I'm good with that. You have like this enlightened speech. But it's not your experience. It's not your raw human experience. So in order for that to be real, you have to move the raw. I know this because I used to be like that. I had this unconditional love thing and I just fixed everything and completely abandoned myself and just accumulated stress. And then I had to be completely human and move it all. And now it's my real experience. Yes, so the ego is the pretense. It's not the child that's angry. So you have to go deeper. Yeah? Good.
How to move through the fears, because it's something that it pushes me from within to continue with this. For me, it was like to open Pandora Box, what for many, many years, I put different masks, I stuff in different ways. And in this moment, I am feeling vulnerable, happy, but with a lot of fear. I know what I want because I'm feeling it. I don't know how it's going to react, but I'm talking the outside world. But I want to give the opportunity to myself. So how can I move it through? Of the feeling that you can handle everything outside.
You know, you're in a great moment. And you just have to trust. You know, and just keep going. Keep unifying. Do the other steps of the system, which is speaking your truth, being vulnerable, taking off the masks, letting go of attachment. But all of this is natural. It happens naturally when you're expanding your consciousness. Each step is a step of unconditional love. And we support you in that. But it's easy. It's easier to live in reality than in negation. It's easier to confront your fears than to keep the masks on. Because they're based in lies. And they're so fragile. And they're so focused on image. And everyone's doing the same thing. But everyone's fragile. Once you let that go, you find your true power. And there's nothing more powerful than consciousness and unconditional love. Because it's what all of creation's made of. And it's real. Mm. And it's nice to feel fragile, no? Especially if you're a control freak. If you don't think, it's like a relief. Oh, God, I'm just going to let go of the control and just be here. It's such a relief. Because when we're holding on to control, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But love just flows.
I want to ask you, when I go back home, I'm going to be moving with my daughter, but I never experience, I'm going to move house with my daughter, but we never live by ourselves. And my mom and my dad helped me a lot with her, and they are very, very attached to her. And I feel very afraid that they could get sick, because my mom told me many times que si me llevo a mi hija, ella se muere. And my father too.
You know, you're attached. This is a big step for you. It's not about your parents. It's about you. Your fears that you're going to lose something. Imagine, at your age, you've always lived with your parents. And you're not so young. You know, and now your daughter is 14. She's about to leave home full stop. So it's great that you move, but it's your attachment. You know, and your parents are being dramatic and, oh, we're going to die and the world's going to come to an end and blah, 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 blah. That's not going to happen. You've got to let go and be loving with them, and she can visit them. But bit by bit, you have to find independence. And you have to let go of this chronic attachment, because it's chronic, no? And just trust. Use the facets. Be loving with your parents. You know, obviously they love having you there. And they love having her there. Well, she's not so this anymore, no? She's here. So just trust and keep in touch and be loving. But you can't stay there because you're scared they're going to die. You know. Yes, but look at your own attachment. Because you've obviously got a lot of attachment. And it's a big step for you, no? Because you have to take responsibility. But now your daughter's older, so it'll be easier. Just trust.
This morning, when we were witnessing, my question is, the mirror of perfection is all nature, is all what we experience, or what happened within? Because I felt a very brilliant light shining in my whole body until now is there.
How beautiful. The mirror of perfection is the reflection of creation. And on responsibility is the realization that I am that. And the next step is the mirror of perfection. You know, when we do the first portal, we're talking about in its perfection. In its perfection. But it's not our experience. But the accumulation of all the portals and coming to that point is the mirror of perfection. That means that all the judgments left. And you're seeing it physically, which is beautiful.
My question is, how can I do to let go the need of wanting to feel needed?
In each moment. It's called codependency. And when you see that outward movement, just keep letting it go. You're putting your value in saving people. And you need to save yourself. You need to find yourself. You need to feel secure within that. When you're looking after people, you feel empowered. I'm important, you know, but let that go and give that love to you. And then you can have relationships that are based on unconditionality. Do you understand? Yes? Muy bien. Gracias.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.